Today we're going to look at sales tax, discounts, and commissions. For the sake of all of these lessons, I'm going to use the sales tax rate of 13%. That's our harmonized sales tax. So I'm just going to use that. I'm not going to break it into the 7% GST and the PST, whatever. We're just going to use 13% as our tax rate. So if I want to buy something that costs $45 and there's a tax rate of 13%. What we've done in the past is we've multiplied by decimal 1-3, gotten an answer, and then we've added it back to $45. Well, now that we understand decimals and fractions a little bit better, we know that, as I mentioned when we talked about those concert goers a couple lessons ago, that if I put this number in here, this 1 is going to take into account my $45 right away. So for sales tax, if I want to know a final price, the question is not asking me how much do you pay in tax. If the question is asking me how much do I pay in total, I'm going to put this 1 in front so it takes into account the original amount I spent. Then I'm going to add in that decimal, which is 1-3, and I can just multiply these two things together. So 45 times 1.13 means I will pay $50.85 for the item I'm buying. This will be a total price. If, on the other hand, the question asks, how much are you paying in sales tax? We don't need this. We have the $45 and we know that our sales tax is 13%. If we only want to know the sales tax, not the total cost, we leave that 1 out. So 45 times decimal 1-3 equals $5.85. So just how much is in tax versus the total cost. Okay, that's two things. Next, if we look at a discount, again, we have to look at the discount a little bit backwards. So, for example, it tells us that the Google Doc, when I say it tells us, I'm looking at the video game question, and it tells us that we have a video game and the regular price is $27.99. This goes back to what we did with that 75% before. If something is 25% off, 100 minus 25 means 75. We're paying 75% of the original cost, and that's the number we want to deal with. So back to that video game question. It is $27.99 regular price, and now it's 30% off. You could go through the process of multiplying the regular price by the discount and then subtracting. Or we know that 30%, 100 minus 30 equals 70%. So we, instead of saying, oh, we get 30% off, if we start thinking, well, I'm going to pay 70% of the original price, I can do the math really quickly. So I have my $27.99, and I'm multiplying that by the decimal, and 70 as a decimal is 0.7, 0.7. I grab my calculator. So 0.7 times $27.99 gives us a discount, and 70% of that price is $19.59. So instead of saying 30% off of $27.99, we start thinking that 70% of $27.99 is what we're going to pay. It gives us a new price of $19.59. Yes, you can do what you've always done previously, which is take your original price, multiply by 30, subtract. This does it in one nice, neat little step. Shows us that we're starting to think a little bit more maturely about math. So what now if I want to know the price including commission, or including the discount? Sorry, my brain's got all these words mixed up today. So I take my new price of $19.59, and I want to know how much I have to hand over to the cashier because I know I have to pay tax. Again, I'm going to multiply by 1.13, and I get 19.59 plus 1.13 is $20.72. So regular price, 30% off means I'm paying 70% of the original price. $27.99 times 0.7 gives me my new price of $19.59. But before I can walk out the door of the store, I need to pay the sales tax on that. So $19.59 times 1.13, again the 1 takes into account this original price. 0.13 is our tax. So to walk out the door with that video game, I need $20.72. All right, last part of this is commission. And if you're ever working in retail or in real estate or for a company where sales is part of the program, sometimes you'll get paid commission. And what commission is instead of being paid a salary, you get paid by how much you sell. Now, it really depends on the company that you're talking about. For example, if you went and worked at Sport Check at the mall, they will pay you a base rate, and then they will pay you commission on your sales. It's basically a way of getting salespeople motivated. The more you sell, the more you make. Same idea in real estate. So say, for example, I had a house that was worth $450,000. And George, my real estate agent, said, okay, I'm going to sell your house for $450,000, but my commission is 2.5%. So that means for every dollar George gets from my house, he's going to earn 2.5 cents of that dollar. So I get 97.5% of it. So it's a motivation for George to try to get my asking price in this crazy real estate market, maybe get more than it, because he knows the more he gets from my house, the more money he's going to make in commission. So if George manages to sell my house for $450,000, and I turn this percent into a decimal, which is 0.025. That's what I'm going to multiply by. And I'm going to find out how much I have to pay George. So I take the $450,000, I multiply by 0.025, and I get $11,250. So if George manages to sell my house for $450,000 at his 2.5% commission rate, I have to pay George $11,250 for his job of selling my house. Commission works the same way, for example, in the when I was talking about Sport Check. Let's say that for every $100 of merchandise you sell, so $100 for every $100 of merchandise, you're going to get 4% commission. And let's say you had a really good week, and that week you sold $3,250 worth of merchandise for Sport Check. And you want to know, okay, well, how much is my paycheck going to be? And I'm not paying attention here to any sort of minimum wage. We're pretending you're just working on commission. So I have $3,250 I made for Sport Check. Wish it was my money in my pocket, right? That's what you would like. But you're getting 4%. And again, 4% as a decimal is 0.04. That's what I'm going to multiply how much I sold for Sport Check. Grab my calculator. So $3,250 I sold, and I get 4% of that as my commission. So 3,250 times 0.04. I make $130 in commission. That means I sold $3,250 worth of merchandise for Sport Check. Sport Check said to me, well, we're going to pay you only on commission, so every 4% you sell for $100 is going to be your commission. So 4% commission, 3,250 times 0.04 means I have $130 commission. All right, so today's work gives you a little bit of each of these. Tomorrow's work as well, we're just going to keep going with questions like this rather than introducing something new. All right, again, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'm happy to help you. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you again next time.